kind of a nice day. Anyway, yeah, I think I'll be a website video, but it'll probably go over 15 minutes, and, yeah, fuck YouTube. Yeah, anyway, free will and such. Yeah, Nicotine brought up the subject in a conference report, and Bubba McMack guy have responded, and, yeah, well, it's always a good subject. Sort of. Probably, maybe, kind of. Hopefully there's not too much wind here. Anyway, cat, damn it. Yeah, but look, there's no free will, and we can dissect our psychology, and the problem is in the basic structure of our language, and we're all raised with this bad language. We're also raised with these notions of freedom. Like there's such a word as freedom anyway, any such thing as freedom in a world of obvious confinement to material process. You can't go beyond. You can't defy gravity. You can't defy atomic structure. You can't defy any of this stuff. So there's no absolute freedom for certain. And all the rest of this is just talking about relative confinement. And so again, we're just talking about language and the fact that language has been completely retarded. And so even our notion of self has been retarded by this bad use of language. We still use words commonly. I do it, like spontaneous and random. Even though we have no example, we can't find one. All right, there is none. You want something to happen randomly in a computer software program, you have to invent random. You have to simulate random. You can't make a random. You have to simulate a random. And it's just that kind of notion that we just don't have the perspective because we haven't had the vocabulary, because people won't talk in a language of reality. They talk in a language of lies and bullshit. There is no freedom. There is confinement, and just the relative states of confinement. If people understood life right from the start that way, that they aren't striving for freedom, they're just trying to eliminate restraints. And then I guess the I thing, and you know, me and Nick, the other Nick, this is sort of a response to nicotine, but me and the Modern Mystic did a lot of this brain conversation. Years back, and yeah, the consciousness is an illusion. It's just a plane with which your brain does my brain constructed this sentence. My brain is controlling my eyes. All right, I see the results of what my brain produces. I do not consciously do a mother effing thing. I'm just so sick of having to reiterate that over and over and not have it challenged by anyone. Please challenge the statement. You do absolutely nothing in your conscious state. Okay? You don't utter a word. It doesn't. The composition. It doesn't happen in consciousness. The argument, the debate, the choice, anything you call a choice, which would be related to this subject of free will, anything that you would call a choice does not take place in your consciousness. It arises, it shows up in your consciousness. It goes through there as the last thing it does before it goes into action. And most of the time, the action happens before you even consciously knew you were going to do it. You don't know when exactly you're going to throw the baseball or when you're going to do all this stuff that functions outside of you even knowing it. I don't know how I'm going to pet this cat or what I'm going to exactly do. It's all muscle memory. It doesn't happen through any conscious process. I'm as surprised as the cat at exactly what I might do. Again, I just looked over there. Why? I didn't consciously decide to look over there. I fucking goddamn did it. My brain did it. So I'm just a brain running a bunch of reflexive programs. And those programs sometimes will compete with each other. And then we'll have this conversation about, okay, well now let's talk about responsibility, because now you have a choice. Your brain is going to make a decision between two programs. A program that says, don't stick the knife in his head, and the program that says, yeah, stick a knife in his head, he's a fucker. And so I have to now be responsible because I had this thing called a choice inside my programming, where my two software programs were competing with each other, and if the wrong one wins, I'm a bad person. Well, that's a fact, though. I mean, this whole connecting accountability and responsibility to determinism is utterly unnecessary. If I gave you the example of a bad thing, a rabid dog, okay, it's sitting there. There's a rabid dog right over there. The only catch is he might just be pretending to have rabies. No, he's still rabid. I mean, he still can kill you. He still can give you, he'll inject you with malaria instead of giving you rabies or some other kind of catch. But yeah, he's faking. Okay? Well, what's the difference? Who cares? It's still something you're going to put a cage around. You're not going to just sit there and say, oh, well, he's not responsible for having rabies. It doesn't matter. Responsibility is irrelevant. And the point of a justice system, we've just gotten it wrong. We people talk in terms of punishment, like we'll show that fucker, because we do it out of anger and revenge and emotional need to leak some blood out of the fucker. But yeah, that's just the ignorant part of the system. The intelligent part of the justice system doesn't intend to do any of that. It just intends to create deterrence so that there is a threat inside one of the little reflexes inside the brains of people, and that little reflex will say, I don't want to go to prison and get beat up and get raped and eat gruel and be having to listen to all them damn monkeys yapping and screaming all fucking goddamn day. I really, really, really don't want to goddamn do that. And so I won't commit the crime because I'm scared that I'm going to be properly caged and treated like a rabid dog. And I don't want to do that. And so then they'll have a deterrent inside their brain. And that's all justice is intending to do in its best form. It's just a pragmatic fact. There's a rabid dog, you put a cage around it. Alright? You don't have to harm it. You don't have to mistreat it. But there is a point where if somebody's broken enough, if they do have an uncontrollable lesion thing in their head, just cat real quick, compelling them to stick knives in people's necks, well, yeah, this might be a person you just say is just too damn broken. Period. And that's all. That's the word we need here. Is just to look at it as you have a functionality in the world. We just have to call these people broken. We don't have to call them criminals or bastards or motherfuckers or shitheads. We can just call them broken. Okay? And what do you do with a broken toaster? Yeah, well, you humanely put it you send it to Toho Toaster Heaven, and you replace it with one of the 7 billion other little toasters out there just waiting to be taken care of and invested in. Yeah, but you certainly don't invest in a $10 toaster. You certainly don't try to reconstruct it and rebuild it and go through all that crap. No, you just humanely put it out of its misery and put society out of the burden, of having to create walls and moats and all kinds of other crap to protect itself from a tiny, tiny speck of broken humans. So, yeah, you just don't need to tie accountability and responsibility, because we have another standard by which we can judge, and that is functionality. You have to achieve a minimum functionality to be a citizen. And if you're not achieving that, then society's going to have to do something about it. And if your compulsion or your irresistible urge in some sort of perfect storm of badness has you doing something really destructive, well, yes, society might just have to put you down because it just can't afford to placate that kind of dysfunction, and it just can't. It's got better and more important priorities than trying to reclaim your one consciousness from a liability that's just too structural, a dysfunction, a brokenness that's just too massive. Alright, so the other angle is sort of this whole idea of what, humans can't have a human perspective unless they have the fallacy of some sense of agency or whatever that crap is. And, well, the point is that's right, exactly. You can't maintain delusions of grandeur. You can't maintain this whole fucking ego bullshit crap if the truth is revealed to you that you are just a cog, one piece of a puzzle, And that what the puzzle's doing is revealing the truth. That's what we've done for the last 10,000 years, is a piece at a time, revealing the truth. And so we reveal logic, we reveal form, we reveal sense, and through that revelation, we can start, instead of swimming like some kind of random school of fish, we can start swimming in an articulate way that starts to match the logic that we have revealed, the truth that we have revealed. So we reveal the truth that you're one little instrument in a world. The truth that there is value. We don't need freedom or anti-undeterminism or any other kind of crap to have value. There's value. We know sentience matters. Feelings are important. We're trying to maximize the comfort and minimize the discomfort. Not complicated at all. I mean, just so fucking ABC, it's incredibly, disgustingly sick how simple that is. And that the comfort doesn't matter, whether it's in this little cat's brain, whether it's in Nicotine's brain, whether it's in the Modern Mystic's brain, whether it's in Conference Report's brain, whether it's Bud Micmac's brain, it just doesn't goddamn matter. Okay? The sensations of discomfort and comfort are all that matter. And all our brains, all of them, should be owned by that idea that, there's no point in looking at yourself as an agent. You aren't the universe. You aren't the pool of consciousness and sentience on Earth, and it's the pool that matters. It's how well is the pool swimming? How well is the school swimming? How well is the school functioning? And that's all that does matter. And then logically you can try, you. See, again, we have this word, you, I. These words just won't work in the long term. Eventually they're going to have to be destroyed. It's a brain process, a programming, it's a program, an understanding, a meme. Your memes your notions, ideas, conceptions will lead you to the conclusion, a Mr. Spockian type conclusion, that yes, you've got to serve logic, not your body, not your personal interest. You've got to serve the truth of productivity, and that's how you perfect yourself as a human being. That's how you best yourself. That's how you make yourself that's how you what's the word I'm looking for? Not ultimate, but that's how you get the best out of yourself, is to maximize that productivity equation, to prevent more suffering than you cause, to create more comfort, and that's it. That's all there is. And so the rest is just working on this psychology that's built to be so selfish, that is motivated by these feelings that are personal, that are only endured by this individual consciousness, and understanding that devotion is corrosive to your productivity. You're not likely to be productive if you're self-obsessed, and if you're thinking you are the center of something. You're not. All that will give people perspective. So I guess the last part I wanted to get on to, he sort of talked like I said, like humans can't do this. Well, I think as long as they're connected to this internet thing, and they're connected to this more rational conversation that can take place outside of this pop culture media machine, they can. It would have been a huge advantage to me if I could have grown up in this age and had access to these little pieces of information, that little meme, that little idea that my consciousness is not doing anything, that it is all happening subconsciously, and that all subconscious is a bunch of reflexes. You say the word green, my brain creates images, it creates thoughts, it creates connections to that word, and there's just a bunch of connected software programs, a bunch of connected models of reality, and that the logic is built into the structure, and all we're doing is revealing the truth of it, the true circumstance of it, the true causes and effect kind of nature of it, and understanding words like efficiency and productivity, because we can see the value, we can understand the value, it's right in front of us. It's something we all have our own personal evidence of. You don't need a theory of mind to understand that you don't like feeling like shit. And that other people likewise would not likely enjoy feeling like shit. Having their skin burned off by one of our cruise missiles. But anyway, that's all another. I don't want to get political. But anyway, yeah, you just don't need agency to be part of this, and it is so. The script is so convoluted and so intricately written. Through billions of years of the universing, that there's just no point in oh dear, I'm owned by a script. Well, so what? Because I can't read it. My subconscious is the only thing that can read it, and I can't see my subconscious read it. So how the hell can I possibly know it's a script? And what part of me is going to be able to ever be aware of the scriptness? I'm always going to be blind to the script, because I'm always going to just hear the performance. I'm always going to see it for the first time. I consciously, like I said, my head just turned and looked at a tree over there. Why? I didn't consciously say, "Oh, look at the tree, Gary." No, that didn't happen. So there, the script surprised me. It surprised me. Come on, you're surprised all the time. You're not consciously in control. Your subconscious programs are running. All right, and maybe they're reading a script. Well, they are definitely. But you're never going to be aware of it, so why even talk about it like it's some sort of burden? Because you can't feel it. You can't feel that ownership. You can't feel that restraint. And knowledge of it is completely harmless. And it only empowers you to understand exactly what's running you. And by understanding what's running you, your better software can win the battle. The wiser, smarter, more disciplined software can get rewarded if you understand that meme, that's really the challenge. The real challenge is to have a little challenge program running. The little challenge program says, I challenge you to defend what the fuck you're doing, asshole. I mean, that's all you need. A program in there that just says, I challenge you to defend what you're going to do right now, asshole. And once you have to defend it, then you look inside your brain and you say, oh, it's because I'm a selfish asshole. Oh, okay, yeah, guess what? That's a shitty excuse. And and it's not hard to know that that's a shitty excuse. So this logic, the logic required not to be a rabid dog, not to be a menace to society, is a tiny a bit of logic that needs to be acquired. So I say accountability is perfectly appropriate. Things that broken, they can't function at that level. They can't get almost a little bit better than a fucking lizard. If they can't do as well as the gecko lizard, then yeah, fuck them. I mean, not fuck them in a harm way. I just mean, yeah, they're just broken toasters. Yeah, do what you do with broken toasters. I mean, you don't kick it down the street. You don't insult it. You don't spit on it. You don't take a shit on it. No, you just get rid of it, though. You replace it. You invest in a new toaster that has greater potential to make toast. Without sticking a knife in your neck. Yeah, that's, no point in beating it to death. But yeah, the human race isn't going to get it, though, as long as they don't have exposure to the truth. And like I said, this would have been so helpful to me to hear these conversations and to be contemplating this in this context when I was a kid, because you weren't getting any of that. You're just giving this pop culture jargon. It's never explained to you what kind of psychology you're actually trapped in. I mean, psychologists don't even understand it, which is pitiful. I mean, they keep talking like you're actually accomplishing something, like the stupid treadmill is actually going somewhere, these fucking idiots. And so, yeah, the whole culture is just dominated by fallacy, by religious jargon, by human ego nonsense. And so, of course, there's a dilemma between the truth and those lies. But that's the dilemma. There's no dilemma between determinism and psychology or human capacity. No, it's just a dilemma between the truth and the lies that people have been saturated with. And so let's just call it what it is. There's the truth and there's bullshit. And the bullshit can be weeded out that quickly by just exposure. You can't undo the knowledge. So once the knowledge has hit somebody, it's going to sink in, because the logic isn't that complicated. It isn't that fucking goddamn confusing. And so it's all about exposure. And as long as only 3% of the world is exposed, or less, yeah, it's not going to happen for a while. But that's all it takes, is fair exposure. And if we just didn't have this stupid corpocracy, if we didn't have corporations defining what the memes are and defining what the truth is, maybe this conversation could have taken place sooner and earlier, and we wouldn't have to wait generation after generation for something rational. Don't you be bothering that cat. Must be a cat in that box over there. Hope it's a cat. Yeah, well, whatever. Okay. So enough of a video, I think. Maybe I'll play a little piece of Nicotine's video, just because just to be sure I've covered the point he was making. But I think I have. So probably don't need to do that, but I decided to do it. Yeah, see? I have decided. No, I didn't decide. A program running in my head decided that it was already decided maybe 5 minutes ago that that's how I was going to behave. And, yeah, that's just the way it was. But it wasn't I didn't do it. Brain did it.
Floating on a speck of dust in a sea of nothing. But can we take not even being agents, not even being human in the way that we've traditionally defined it? I don't know. I think a lot of people are going to resist that idea. The idea...
Yeah, well, like I said, I only think they're going to resist it if they're exposed to it when they're 30 or 40, or when it might be just too late for them to have enough of an open mind to hear it, even, to listen to it. Because they already did the religious thing, put their fingers in their ears and said, no, I don't hear you. And so, yeah, they're impervious to the truth. And again, the truth is that this is all shit. It's absolutely silly shit. It's a DNA molecule. That's all it is. It's a DNA molecule replicating. And we're just fodder for that silly little project.
That there is no right or wrong. That we have no control over our actions.
You see, again, that was just so right or wrong. Why would you say there's no right or wrong? I mean, that just doesn't have anything to do with determinism. I mean, whether it's a script that we're reading or not doesn't change whether it's a good script, a good play or a bad play. So, I mean, there is a right or wrong. There is an efficiency that can be judged. Just like we can judge how efficiently your car uses gasoline. We can judge how efficiently your human existence functioned in the world. But part of that is going to be that you're going to have to read your part in the script, so to speak. You will read your part of the script. And part of the script will have to be people who will say, yeah, of course there's right or wrong. Yes, it's all determined, but of course there is. And you have to get your programming to still run the right way. And if you don't say that to yourself, well, guess what? Then you'll be part of a deterministic future that is fail. And the way to be part of the one that will be win is that people will have to definitely say, oh no, you're still accountable. There's still a truth here. And you can't undo the truth. And the truth is we're heading for a destination, and you're going to be part of that destination. You're going to define that destination. And that's just part of the truth. You're one of the links in the chain. And the only way you can be a good link is that your script has to be a good script. And the only way your script can be a good script is you have to have knowledge of the idea that I don't want to be a rabid dog. You have to have at least that much logic running inside your fucking stupid bastard head to be able to be part of a good script. But yeah, failure really is ludicrous. Failure is ludicrous.
That we is not even really a thing, distinct from a mechanical process. That idea is going to sink in sooner or later. And I think large portions of the world's population are going to say, no, I'm not accepting that.
Yeah, like I said, I think they'll accept it if they can hear it. And no one's hearing. They're not hearing that. Okay, they're just hearing hate. They're just living on the emotional edge of their humanity. If they're just forced to take 5 or 10 minutes to truly contemplate what the wheels are actually doing inside their head, and to look back at those wheels, it's not going to be a truth that'll be that hard to accept. So exposure is everything. And so one of the necessary pieces of the good script, the hopeful script, will be that more and more people will start saying, well, maybe we've got to drop these memes on these people, instead of facilitating this emotional crap. We've got to keep dumping, logic memes out there. Maybe we have to be more aggressive. We have to use words like that. Maybe we have to be more aggressive. And when I say we, of course, I mean you, because, I don't feel like it. See, that's the real thing. We have to somehow try to motivate each other. We try to somehow have to catch on to the logic of understanding how to maximize this school's functionality of this mass and how to move this mass through what our participation would be. And, again, I mean, there's a little bit of cognitive dissonance, at thinking about how I'm thinking about thinking. Yeah, I mean, but, the end game is still the same, that this is a script that needs to be written. If we're going to get to the good destination, a lot of people are going to have to read these good scripts. They're going to have to say these good words. And if we don't hear them in the world, if we don't hear that happening, we don't see that happening, then we're not going to have a good finish. The bad script will win the day, as it was inevitable that it would. That's the catch.
And they're going to target science, because I don't think they're going to be willing to give up their intuitive sense of identity. And
well, anyway, like I said, I think they will be. And the only thing is, and theoretically, let's just say, if the human race doesn't nuke itself or do something dramatic to itself, that kind of exposure to information is going to be available. So I just think the logic will win the scripting war, and that's the inevitable future. But the real catch is that we probably aren't going to be able to survive the conflict to get to that point in future history. And so, it's probably going to be all fail. And, so, these humans are rabid dogs. They're at least pretending to be. That's the script they're reading. They're reading the asshole script. We just got to get people to stop reading the asshole script. Maybe it's that simple. Write that in, cloud smoke. Quit reading the asshole script, asshole. Enough of a video.